Hey, math class. Okay, so we're also going to talk about subtracting decimals. And again, just like with adding, super similar to whole numbers. Okay, and as long as you sort of keep that in mind, you should be fine. The only thing they're doing is like throwing a little zero or throwing a decimal point in there, or maybe some unnecessary zeros. They're trying to trip you up. Okay, so again, like with adding, I want to keep my decimal points totally lined up. And then I'm going to subtract just like usual, right? Okay, so 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 2 is 7. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then as long as I have my decimal points lined up, then I just bring it straight down. So 899 minus 425, or 8 and 99 hundredths minus 4 and 25 hundredths equals 4 and 74 hundredths, right? Really easy. Let's look at another example here. What if I have this? Notice I've lined up my decimal points, okay? So again, I should just be able to subtract, bring everything straight down, and put my decimal point in the same place. So 9 and 68 thousandths minus 7 and 54 thousandths equals 2 and 14 thousandths. But what's the other thing about subtracting that you remember that kind of got a little sticky sometimes? It was borrowing, right? So what do I do if I have to borrow? And again, it's almost exactly the same as whole numbers. You just have these decimal points. So as long as you line those up, then it's like you're ignoring them and you can borrow like usual. So now this makes 7. I borrowed 1 from the 6, makes that 5 to make that guy a 12, and now 12 minus 7 is 5. 5 minus 5 is 0, and I have to put the 0 because my decimal point is right over there. If it was just 62 minus 57 in whole number land, our answer would be 5. But because I've got a decimal over here, my answer can't just be like 5 or point space 5. I have to fill that space with a 0. Okay, let's look at another example here. If I've got one, oh yeah. Right? 4 and 95 hundredths, and I'm subtracting 99 hundredths. So again, I can't take 5 or 9 from 5. I have to borrow. Okay, which makes that a 6. I can't take 9 from 8, so I have to borrow. And I have to make sure that every spot behind my decimal point is filled in, right? Because I can't just have a space there. Okay, it works the other way too. Let's look at an example. So what if I had 5 and I wanted to subtract 1 and 674 thousandths. This is a spot where I would again recommend using graph paper because you can easily see sort of where everything needs to be. So remember, I got to line up my decimal points. This guy doesn't have a decimal point, so I have to assume that it's in the little intersection right behind it. Subtracting 1.674. Okay. I have to borrow on this problem. Let me get that board out of the way. Because I can't just say, oh, 4 from nothing is 4. I have to fill in these spots with zeros, okay? And then I'm really taking that 4 from a 0, which I can't do. So it becomes a lot like a problem like 100 minus something. I have to borrow from clear over here, which makes that guy a 10, and then I have to borrow 1 to make that guy a 10, and then I borrow 1 to make that guy a 10. So again, exactly like whole numbers, I just have a decimal point. Now I have 10 minus 4, which is 6, 9 minus 7, which is 2, 9 minus 6, which is 3, 4 minus 1, which is 3. So in my problem, let me get my problem back over here, 5 minus 1 and 674 thousandths, that equals 3 and 326 thousandths. I can't just bring the 674 down. That's incorrect. I have to fill the spots up here with zeros and then borrow from clear over, okay? So the same happens when I have kind of wonky things like this, right? Minus, okay, so here I've got decimal points. I've got 12.7 minus 2.01, or 12 and 7/10 minus 2 and 1/100. I'm going to come over here, write that problem on my graph paper. 12.7 minus 2.01. And so even though I have decimal points, I know my decimal is going to live right there, I still have to fill this spot right here with a 0. I can't just put the 1 down. So up here in this problem, like that 5, he was just the whole number. I had to fill in all of those zeros. But here, even though I already, like my problem comes with a decimal point, I still have to fill in that 0. Okay, so now what do? I got to borrow from this guy to make that a 10, which makes that 9. 6 minus 0 is 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. So my answer is 10.69, or 10 and 69 hundredths. Okay, so keys to subtracting, lining up the decimal, adding zeros if you need them, adding those unnecessary zeros, and you still have to borrow like if it was whole numbers.